Watching WWE as a kid is a peak human experience. You fall in love with the product and you believe the goofiest things ever are real. In today's video, we're gonna take a look at the stupidest and fakest WWE moments that I actually fell for. We're gonna start off with this moment. As a kid, I really believed that there was just some random fan who snuck into the backstage area at the perfect time where the cameras were rolling on Batista before one of his matches. To make things even funnier, he also had enough time to do Batista's entrance taunt before running away from some security guards. Nowadays, I know that almost all of those backstage segments are pre-taped and this would never actually happen. If anything, they would cut to something else like we've seen when real fans actually got involved when they weren't supposed to. It's still hilarious to think that my generation of fans actually fell for this, and I think there's a good chance that some of my friends still think it's legit. In 2006, John Cena would star in the Marine film, and following this movie, he would start to wear camouflage gear and introduce his signature salute. Because of all of this, I thought that he actually served our country, and that movie was just his origin story. It made logical sense in my mind. Why else would he wear this attire? And I definitely did not think anyone could do salutes unless they were actually in the army. Looking back, WWE probably wanted to give him some more babyface momentum, and I suppose that was the perfect time to associate John Cena with the soldiers. Just look at all the events that transpired in the 2000s. Regardless, WWE fooled me, and it wasn't until many years later when I found out that it was all just a lie. The biggest lie that I fell for was Vince McMahon's death. When we saw his limo explode, I thought it was over for the boss. It's so funny to think about it now, especially because of that ominous walk to the car. However, everyone at school was talking about this moment. We were all depressed and stressed out for absolutely no reason in 3rd grade. To be fair, it was reported that even Donald Trump called Vince McMahon to make sure that he actually did not blow up, and that makes me feel a little bit better about falling for this stunt. The storyline was going to be very interesting, but WWE had to cut it short after the Chris Benoit tragedy. Vince appeared on TV. He told everyone that he faked the entire thing and announced that Chris Benoit was actually found dead alongside his family. That was truly one of the darkest days in wrestling history. Vince dying wasn't the only dead man that fooled me as a kid. In 2005, I was only 7 years old, and whenever I would watch SmackDown, The Undertaker would scare me. It was even worse when I got some tapes of the Attitude Era from the library. There was nothing scarier if you were a kid and you were witnessing The Undertaker in the prime of his career. With all that said, I remember watching SmackDown after some episode of Degrassi, and The Undertaker did his usual entrance with all the smoke and his signature eye roll, and that is when I offered my brother a piece of gum in exchange to answer the big question: was The Undertaker really dead? He said yeah, and I totally believed that we were witnessing a dead man walking around. While most normal kids believe that Santa was real, I was here thinking a real zombie was running around in WWE. Sticking with The Undertaker, let's talk about his brother Kane. We know the story. The Undertaker set the fire that scarred Kane in a tragic accident at their family's funeral home. Then the Big Red Machine came to WWE for some revenge, and for the longest time I bought that story. It made even more sense when I saw Kane's disfigured face after he removed his mask. It was a bit confusing to see the burns were later gone, but anyways, for an even longer time I thought that these two were real life brothers. The Undertaker even says that people still ask him to this day if the two giants are actually related.
I think that you and Kane are brothers to this day.
I get asked all the time. All the time. Hey, where's your brother? I said, hey, he's a mayor now. What? Shut up. Really? I said, oh, no, your brother. I said, yeah, Kane. Yeah, he's the mayor in Knox County. No way. Yeah. Y'all really brothers, right? Oh, yeah. Yeah. Half brothers. Always clarify it. We're half brothers.
It wasn't only The Undertaker and Kane. The WWE had everyone thinking that Edge and Christian were also brothers. The two had a lot of chemistry. They were white, they both had blonde hair, they were from Canada. It only made sense. The company even referred to them as brothers for the early years of their careers. The funniest thing is that they just dropped the brothers story out of nowhere, and it wasn't until maybe 2011 when I found out that they were never even related. You learn something new every day. Did you know that wrestlers do not sing their theme songs? I thought everyone did. You're telling me that this is not the Big Show singing?
Well, it's a big show. Oh.
How about HBK's music?
Up and down their spine, I'm just a sexy boy.
If this isn't Randy Orton, then I want to know who is this man?
Voices in my head, they counsel me, they understand, they talk to me.
I was convinced that this was Edge.
On this day, I see clearly.
This is not CM Punk.
This fire burns.
And this isn't Kofi Kingston either. Speaking of Kofi Kingston, I really thought that he had a legit Jamaican accent. I was completely shocked to find out that this was actually how he spoke.
The only way we could possibly lose is if we waste time arguing and fighting with each other.
I think we all had the same reaction as Triple H when he heard Kofi drop that act.
Aren't you supposed to be Jamaican? What happened to your accent? Are you a Jamaican?
The Sweet Chin music is one of the greatest finishers ever. Tuning up the band got everyone off their seats, and then when Shawn Michaels connected with the boot to the face, the match was pretty much over. That is all she wrote. One of the best parts about the move is hearing the sound of the smack when he hits it. I later found out that Shawn Michaels was slapping his leg all along. It wasn't until all of the newer talent in today's generation from the indie scene would slap their leg. At least HBK made an effort to hide it. This new generation is full of wrestlers who will obviously slap their legs, and it just looks ridiculous. But looking back at Shawn Michaels and his super kicks, I can notice it a bit more. But like I said, this new generation does not even try. This is why I actually liked the fact that leg slapping was banned in 2021. The storyline between Eddie Guerrero and Rey Mysterio for the custody of Dominic Mysterio felt so real as a child. I legitimately believed that Eddie was his real father. Some people still think that's the case today. I literally gaslit my friend into thinking that Dom's dad is Eddie, and he texted me days later telling me that I was wrong after he Googled it. I don't even know who came up with that storyline, but it's one of the dumbest things that I believed. When Umaga arrived in the WWE, I thought his face paint were face tattoos. And if they were, I think he would beat Cody, Dom, and Dragunov for the worst tattoo in wrestling history. What makes me look even dumber is the fact that the paint would just fade away by the end of his matches. I don't know why I still thought it was a tattoo, but knowing that it was just face paint does drop his aura just a little bit. Speaking of Umaga, let's talk about the night when Vince McMahon chose a random fan to compete against Umaga for the IC title, and that fan's name was Santino Marella, and he would win the title that night with the help of Bobby Lashley. I remember everyone at school thinking this was real, including myself. I really can't believe we were that gullible. The same thing happened whenever a wrestler would bleed. I thought it was always legit. I didn't know that they would just blade themselves. It does make more sense now because when I do watch older matches, the camera does pan away for minutes before we see the blood. On another note, it is funny that my parents still think the blood was entirely fake. And in order to believe any of these things, you had to believe that WWE was real. And I think that's the biggest lie to ever fall for. While the wrestling in the ring is totally real and the wrestlers do get hurt, everything else is kind of ridiculous, but that is why we love wrestling. It's a bizarre world full of entertainment, and it's even better when you're a kid. These are the stupidly fake things that I fell for as a kid. Let me know what fooled you in the comments below. Anyways, thanks for watching, and here are some other videos I think you might enjoy.